Hey everyone, Shinry here with another video. Today's video is sponsored by me. Today's video sponsor is Love Be Damned. It's an LGBT fantasy fiction series about werewolves, supernatural, and it's kind of a love story. However, it involves a werewolf that bites a human who becomes a wolf man. It's a whole thing. Anyways, if you want to give it a check out, it's on Amazon for $6.99 as well as a sequel, Love Be Caged. I'll get more into that in a different video. But for now, let's get to today's topic. So, the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. If you know my thoughts on My Hero Academia so far, it's that the war arc came out of nowhere. Like, My Hero Academia has been good as far as like build-up storytelling, like doing its own thing. But once we got to the Dark Hero arc, one that was super rushed. Like, I didn't like how Deku already had 5? Because 2 of them doesn't have. There's 9. Was it 7 1 for all users or 9? I forget. I know 2 of the 1 for all users don't have powers, which is Deku and All Might. But he had like a whole set of new powers. Fa Jing, which was basically like Luffy's gear second, gear third. Smoke screen, danger sense, float. Well, I think he had float on screen or on panel, but it's just like you gave him all these powers off screen. He unlocked all these quirks off screen, which is, for the most part, since they're more supportive powers, it's fine. And I haven't watched this in anime form. I've only read it in manga form. But I just felt like that just came out of nowhere. Like, I was like, we didn't see the build up to this or unlocking this. Like, I would have unlocked these over a series of chapters or time or battles or encounters, but that still could have been fine. But then I want to say the manga chapters weren't even that long because it ended almost as quickly as it started. He had one match against the sniper girl, and then I think the Class 1A started going after him, and they fought him for a few seconds. Bakugo's apology was fine. I liked it a lot. I've always thought Bakugo isn't the next Vegeta, or he could be more like a Vegeta where like, well, he's never been evil. That's been his whole thing. Because even when he first got captured by the Villain Society or whatever they were called, the one led by Shigaraki, everybody thought he was going to turn to the dark side. He was going to become all Sasuke, like, oh, this is a Naruto Sasuke retrieval mission. No, it turned out like that. Bakugo was a good guy the entire time. He's just angry. He's just mad. That's his character. Just like Asta. Asta constantly yells. If you read I like the dub version of Asta. I like that he yells. That makes Asta different. But that's just Bakugo. That's just how he is, and I like that. So his apology to Deku, like, I'm sorry I bullied you. I'm sorry I was mean to you. Yada yada yada. Whatever. I liked it. It was fine. But then immediately after that, there is a short traitor arc where you're trying to figure out who this traitor is, and it's teased that it's to do with the. Now, I read a lot of anime, so I don't remember all the names, especially My Hero Academia characters. But the dude with the like light beam on his belly, he was teased to be the traitor, and then it was faked out that he wasn't, which is fine. I like that. But then you faked it out again with the Invisible Girl, which you showed her for one panel. That was kind of cool. Like, I forgot how it happened. Like, I think he shot like a beam of light and it showed her face when she was crying. But it was cool to see the Invisible Girl for like a second. But then you do find out that the traitor is the light beam guy. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then all of a sudden, when he's giving this, and it was a fake out upon fake out upon fake out. And what I mean by this, the fourth fake out, or third fake out, because first fake out was that he was a traitor, but they made it sound like it was Invisible Girl. The Invisible Girl wasn't a traitor. That was a fake out because he was a traitor. But the third fake out, I guess, is like him being like, oh, I called All For One here. And All For One just shows up, like just coming down like Frieza in Jump Force, just floating down. And I was like, what's happening? Is this a pre-battle? Is he about to kidnap? No, the war just starts. Out of nowhere, the war just starts. And I was thinking in my head, like, there are short anime. Shaman King was like 60 episodes. Yu Yu Hakusho was like 120 something episodes. There are short anime, but there is build up to each arc. There was no build up to this war. This war just started, like literally. Like you introduce a traitor. No, we went from Dark Hero to there was a traitor to we're all out war now. And I was just like, okay. I mean, oh, you know, there was Shigaraki reaching his 100%, which that I was still like as well, like I guess because you know Deku and Shigaraki had to be able to take each other on. Like already Shigaraki could fucking just decay things without even touching him now. Like as long if I'm touching this table, if this table touches anything else, it's gonna decay. That was already OP as fuck. Deku, none of your powers so far are gonna delay or stop decay. Like, I mean, I've seen him fight and touch him now. Obviously, I'm caught up in the manga, but still, like, that is an OP power compared to the abilities that you possess currently. So, and I'm gonna get to this point. There's a point leading up to all this because this video is about is about how I want to call him Iron Might. This video is about All Might versus All For One's third fight. That's the whole point of this video. But I have to get up to that point, like why there's no build up to this. And so, you know, Shigaraki already was this insanely powerful character, and you basically saying like, oh, he's not even at his max potential yet. I'm like, the fuck else can this dude do? And then we find out All For One was possessing Shigaraki. Where the fuck did that come from? Because your whole plan, or the whole thing about My Hero Academia, because from the first page, from the first panel, Deku says, or Midoriya says, this is a story about how I became the world's greatest hero. So one, we know you ain't gonna die, Deku. Two, we know that this is a successor story because from the first episode, All Might passed on to you the ability of One For All, which has been passed down since the first user, All For One's brother, which I'm going to get to that too in a second. All For One's brother. So I'm like, okay, this is a successor story. So if this is about Midoriya Deku after All Might passed down his ability, why, All Might, are you constantly showing up and fighting? All For One, why are you possessing Shigaraki when you train Shigaraki for this moment to take over and do this for you? And anybody in the comment section might be like, oh, well, All For One's plan is to dismantle humanity and basically like create a world of chaos and dominion. Sure, whatever. But here's the thing. All For One is not intimidating. Here's why. We already know he was defeated off screen before the show even started. It was already talked about. That's All Might's biggest accomplishment, is that he beat All For One already. So that's a problem. Second time All For One, or the second fight, first time All For One's appearance shows up. This is post the Nomu fighting All Might, and you know All Might went all out. I think he got. Either he was already injured or he got injured in that battle. Because I'm mixing something up. But either way, All Might seemed like he was getting weaker after he fought that Nomu. Like, he was like, oh, I can barely use this power. Then All For One shows up. You should have lost, All Might. Here is why. You beat All For One again. You said you used up all the last bit of All For One, or One For All inside your body. You took down All Might. Cool fight. All that. You did the fist in the air. You should have been out from then on. No more going into that giant form. No more just... I mean, he's been a mentor since then, but he should be out of commission, out of the fight. Just be a teacher, just be like a mentor to Deku. This is a successor story. Deku always says in the beginning of the story, this is the story how I became the world's greatest hero. So, All Might, we don't need to see you fight anymore. On top of that, All For One has lost twice now. Once off panel, once on panel. Getting to this young version of All For One how he's fighting all of Class 1A and Class 1B, and the reason why there was no hype or build up, even when God, I really need to learn their names because I don't know their names. And I watch a lot of anime, like I said. You haven't seen all my list because I just started making YouTube videos for the first time about anime, but I have been watching anime for a long time. But the Black Hawk dude, who his crow or the bird gets, or the phoenix, whatever that thing's called. It's not called a phoenix. But basically, the more darkness is around him, the more out of control the bird becomes. Now, that was teased a long time ago. Like, the more the darkness around him, the more the bird gets out of control, because we saw that. That was foreshadowing, that was planting your seeds, build up, payoff with this All For One fight, which that's my main thing. I'm going to get to that in a second. The whole thing this video is about. That was paid off. But I already knew you weren't going to be All For One. So even when you were attacking, Hawks was attacking, Gigantica, or whatever that woman's name is that grows giant, and somebody else was attacking him, I was like, y'all are not going to defeat All For One. Even Endeavor, I was like, Endeavor, even though you're the current number one hero, you're not going to defeat All For One. This is not your story. You are not All Might. You have no direct connection to All For One. There is no build-up. There is no foreshadowing. There is no payoff. Your fight should be with your son or aiding your son. Now, what he did is have Dabi fight, what I want to keep calling this Fire and Ice dude, two different names. Whatever his name is, you had him fight each other, the brothers, because one was the perfect child that you wanted. The other one was the one you tried to make perfect, or your perfect, like, seed, your perfect prodigy, but you overdid it. And then even after all the abuse you put on that child, you abandoned him for the Fire and Ice child. And so Dabi held that grudge against you, and you thought he died, but he was saved in a way, the same kind of way that, now I'm not trying to make comparisons, but this is the best comparison I can give. The same way that Obito was saved by Madara and given like a new body with the white Zetsu / Madara cells, whatever, and he was able to continue fighting. So fine. Let the brothers fight it out. The perfect child versus the prodigy that failed. Whatever. But then even is his name Todoroki? Or am I mixing it up? Maybe Todoroki is the other dude. Whatever, Fire and Ice guy. He did the ice phosphorus or whatever, Ice Age, basically like a Kiji style, on his brother and froze him for a second. But then his brother burned through it anyway, which I was fine with. I was actually fine with Fire and Ice dude beating Dabi for a second, because I was like, that's some good payoff. You didn't beat him with Fire and Ice, but you beat him with the ice power you inherited from your mother. And your mother loves all her kids, but I guess that wasn't good enough for Dabi. Dabi's like, no, I'm still gonna fucking blow up and kill everybody. But I don't think Dabi's gonna really die. I think something's gonna stop him. But what better would have stopped him is that his brother could have stopped him. I think that would have been better. But maybe Endeavor still has to like pay for his sins, which they did on screen, sorta, with the family. Like, oh, we forgive you, Endeavor, or something like that. But again, I'm trying to get to a point here. I'm already 13 minutes into the video, and I haven't even talked about the main thing. But, well, the point is that there's no payoff in this war. Everything just keeps happening. I forgot Mineta was even there fighting All For One. Mineta's like, oh, All For One, take my pop-off power. Now, really fast, I've always thought Mineta was going to be like some weird underdog character. Like, okay, think of Usopp, right? The dude with the slingshot, the dude that had the gag weapons, the eggs, and the Usopp rubber band of doom. I thought Mineta was going to be like some weird underdog character that came out of nowhere and stopped this war. I made a joke about that on Twitter like years ago. I said Mineta is going to come out of nowhere and he's going to save the day at some point. Mineta, you really are just a joke character. There is no build-up. There is no payoff. You are just a joke. Just like, and I couldn't believe anybody defended this. What's his name, folks? The Millennium dude. You know, the dude that phases the thing. To just talk about real fast about build up, set up, and no payoff, or foreshadowing, whatever. Because I had to talk about Shigaraki and All for One in unison, because like I said, this is supposed to be a successful story. When everyone was struggling to fight against Shigaraki on that floating platform to keep him from decaying everything, and it made it seem like, you know, the three guys, like I said, whatever his name is, Phase Guy, his friend, and the girl, I'm going to come out of nowhere and stop Shigaraki for a second. I was like, okay, cool. How does motherfucker get so scared? He'd be like, it's a full moon rising tonight. I was just like, on one hand, it's funny. On a more serious note, from a writer's perspective, that was pretty dumb. And the fact that Shigaraki even laughed is worse, because it's just like, you are the villain. You aren't supposed to laugh at that shit. You can say it distracted you. You can have a huff face, but don't laugh. Getting to the point now. The reason why I brought this all up, because during that fight, during the whole Shigaraki versus Deku versus Shigaraki versus everybody on the floating platform, it was teased that All for One wants to take over Shigaraki's body. So you want... It could have been this. It could have been, for the heroes, this is a successor arc. Deku, this is your story now. I fought All for One twice now. I beat him twice now, but I'm out of the fight. It's up to you now. Dark side. All for One wants to possess Shigaraki's body. Immortality, whatever. I want to continue causing chaos. It could have been that. But instead, you've already got All for One becoming more useful, which... I guess we had to see his real face at some point, because like his face is all deformed. It looks like fucking mush, like brain matter and stuff like that. But there's been no... Before, and all the times All for One's been shown up, that has been captured, the fact that we met All for One's brother, we met basically all of the users are One for All, including the one that looks like Bakugo, but isn't Bakugo. Bakugo didn't time travel. He doesn't have the power of fighitng, so shut the hell up. We don't know who that is yet, honestly. Which is another thing. Like, who was the second user? Why does it look like Bakugo? Where is the backstory for that? Even after Deku unlocked his quirk, which is basically, again, gear second, gear third for Luffy. I'm not saying they copied each other, but it just gave us that impression. Where is his backstory? Why is Deku not asking anything about, like, why do you like Bakugo? You know Deku caught the artist drew him like Bakugo for a reason. He's related to him in some way, shape, or fashion. But that's another thing of setup, payoff, and no, or setup, payoff, and foreshadowing, setup, and no payoff. You were foreshadowed to look like Bakugo, because you remember the outline of all the One for All users. The setup, you show his face, it looks like Bakugo with like a scar on his face, and then the payoff is nothing. We learn who his power is, but we don't know who he is still. That's weird. Setup, payoff, no, or setup, foreshadow, setup, no payoff. All for One versus All Might. Third rematch. Why does this not work? Why is there no hype behind it? All for One took down Class 1A, Class 1B easily. Or not easily, they put up a fight. But again, you knew they weren't going to defeat him. That would never happen. No major villain's going to be taken down by a bunch of side characters. Unless the main character is there, but they weren't. So, All Might, like I said, has been out of commission. He's out of power. He can't access One for All anymore. Where the fuck did this Iron Man suit come from? Dude, supporting... If supporting weapons could help win fights, where has been the superheroes? Where are the superheroes from? What's that anime called? Tiger and Bunny. Where's a Tiger and Bunny version superhero? Maybe Captain America, whatever the fuck her name was. Maybe she shouldn't have had powers. Maybe she should have had a suit of armor. Then we could have seen how cool a suit of armor is that could have almost taken out Shigaraki. But instead, you gave Captain America a quirk. Her name wasn't Captain America, but basically she was Captain America. Where she should have been quirkless with just a suit of armor, because you expect me to believe a suit of armor is going to help you take down All for One? No. Especially All Might without powers. This fight shouldn't happen. It should not happen. Because All for One has never lost against All Might. And if you tell me he's going to kill All Might now, what is that supposed to motivate Midoriya now? That's so... Naruto versus Sasuke made sense. Naruto and Sasuke had this rivalry from the beginning. We got to see it on screen. We got to see the Rasengan versus Chidori against the metal water pole. And Sasuke was intimidated by Naruto's being more powerful. We got to see them actually fight, and Naruto lost. And then they fought again over time, and it was either tied or got interrupted. But there was always build up, foreshadowing, build up, payoff. Toguro versus Yusuke. Yusuke lost that first fight, and we had seen Yusuke whooping ass against demons the whole time, but this was his first time fighting a human that was modified with demonic power. And Yusuke lost. And Yusuke had to go train, and Yusuke didn't win that fight, but it was hard. There's still foreshadowing, setup, payoff. Luffy versus Crocodile. Luffy lost 3 times. First time he tried to fight Crocodile in the desert, Crocodile said, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Luffy can do nothing to him. Second time he fought Crocodile, Crocodile, he lost outside of the palace, I think, and Crocodile beat his ass. Even though Luffy had water, Crocodile poisoned him that time. Third fight, Luffy wins. But it was set up. 3 try-fail cycles. Try and fail, try and fail, try and win. Setup, foreshadowing, setup, payoff. You've already beat All for One twice. Once off panel, once on panel, and you're supposed to lose this time, I guess? Because if you win, that would just be some random bullshit. And if you lose, I'm guessing your death is supposed to inspire Midoriya, like Ace's death inspired Luffy. I mean, Ace's death didn't inspire Luffy, but you get my point. Like, Luffy is more motivated now, more than ever, to become King of the Pirates. He was more motivated than ever to get that flame fruit from what was his fucking name? And I know my One Piece characters. Doflamingo, the string guy. So, what is giving All Might a suit of armor that, for all intents and purposes, supports quirks, but a quirkless guy has never been shown on screen to win a fight with just a suit of armor? Like I said, it should have been done with Captain America. This should have been set up before this. What is the purpose of making All for One younger if he's just going to take over Shigaraki's body? If that's his whole point. Because he says he has a time limit to become younger. So are we going to get a flashback next panel? Is the flashback going to go on for a while? Because you rushed a lot of stuff. You rushed the heteromorph racism. Now, this is me. I'm going into this because I have to explain everything. But this is me as a manga reader, as a writer, wondering, like, where are you being rushed? Are you being kicked out like the guy from Black Clover, like Bleach too, like T. Kubo and Yukitaba? Because you introduce heteromorph racism, like they're being prejudiced against because they look like freaks, they're like animals, they don't look human. But then you resolve it in the same chapter. You can't do that, man. You have to set up, or you have to foreshadow, set up, and pay off. Arlong, One Piece, a great example of racism throughout the whole story at that, including slavery and other themes, but racism was one of the biggest things. It was the Fishmen pirates when they were prejudiced against, or they hated humans because they said that humans hated them, or we didn't know what Arlong's thing was, but we just knew we hated humans. Like, fishmen were prejudiced against. Over time, even before you get to Fishman Island on Sabiado Archipelago, you learn that fish people are sold to the celestial gods, or celestial dragons, who think of themselves as gods above humans. Like, they put themselves in helmets so they don't have to breathe the same oxygen as poor people, basically. And then that payoff is paid off even more when you get to Fishman Island and you learn that the Arlong pirates used to be a part of Tiger Fisher, who was a slave to humans, but he escaped. And they saved like one human girl who another foreshadow setup and payoff. It's coming soon, really fast. I'm gonna explain that in a second. But they saved this human girl ended up on a ship, and all the human girl wanted to do, she's like, "Oh, just take me home. I'll do whatever you want. I just want to be free." And Tiger Fisher, the other fishermen were like, "Oh, fuck this little girl. We were slaves to humans. Like, let's kill her." Even Arlong was like that. But they warmed up to this little girl, and they took her home. And the little girl was so thankful she was crying. But the humans thought that the fishermen were trying to kill her, that they kidnapped her, even though they brought her back to you, and they killed Tiger Fisher, which pissed off Arlong, which is why Arlong hates humans, because fishmen are oppressed. They are given this racism against. And it's also in Fishman Island that you learned, like, the queen of Fishman Island, Otahime, went up to the surface to, like, you know, form like an agreement with the humans that, you know, fishmen and humans can live in coexistence. But, you know, again, this isn't a One Piece video, but it's just trying to explain, like, racism was set up, a foreshadow set up and paid off. There was no setup, foreshadow, payoff to this. It was all done in one chapter. The lizard dude, who was the coolest dude on the villain team, just got turned into a big dummy. Like, he didn't have no special powers or quirks. He was a heteromorph. But even that panel showed, like, there was no setup, foreshadow, payoff. Because he's like, "Oh, I got all my friends behind me, and there's no one behind him." That was a cool thing, but nothing paid off from it. So I don't see All Might versus All For One being anything more than, like, All Might gonna die to motivate Midoriya, because there's no setup, foreshadow, payoff. And I don't see All Might killing All For One, because that would be pointless. Like, what would be the point of this villain? Is not intimidating if he's been beaten 3 times. He's been beaten twice already. He has done nothing intimidating the entire time. Shigaraki has done more on screen than this guy. The dude with the power to, what was it, like, deconstruct things and then reconstruct things. He did more things on panel. The plague dude, he did more things on panel than All For One. The fucking the person that loves him in love with, I know that's confusing, but I forget his name. But you know who he fought during the music arc or whatever, the music festival. He did more things on panel than All For One. All For One has done nothing on panel that is intimidating at all. He has got his ass whooped, or he has fought several times. He beat Endeavor. Well, Endeavor tied because we didn't see the end of that fight. Endeavor's going to fight Dobby or calm down Dobby. He was fighting random members from Class A 1B. Cannon fodder, basically, because you guys are not going to beat him. Moneta is just there, which, like I said, you just revealed yourself as a gag character just for gag's sake. And then All For One wanting to possess Shigaraki's body out of nowhere. Man, you gotta know. I know how hard writing is. I have done it for 18 years. I have written 33 books. You might as well say more than 33 books. You might as well say more than 33 books, because some of my books are long. They're like the length of 2 books. So I know about, you know, constantly writing continuity and foreshadowing and plots and subplots and side characters and main characters. Oh, that. Your side characters, Class 1A. When it comes to an ensemble anime, you've got to learn how to balance all of them. Yu Yu Hakusho had Yusuke, Kuwabara, Kurama, and Hiei. That was easier. It was just 4 main characters to balance. But then you got things like One Piece, where you have like 10 crew characters, and you have to keep them all relevant. You have to keep Zoro next to Luffy's level, but not above Luffy. You have to keep Usopp near Nami's level, but not super high above Nami. Naruto, or Bleach, you have to juggle Ichigo, Chad, Orihime, Uryu, which was done kind of badly. Which I hope he fixes in the 1,000-Year Blood War, because Orihime, Chad, Uryu, y'all were all off-screened. Y'all were off-screened so many times. The captains of the 13 court guard squads, they were balanced. They were given off screen. They were showing their powers plenty of times and powered up plenty of times. But, you know, when it comes to an ensemble, you got to keep these characters relevant. We got to know what they're doing. Class 1A, like I said, the Black Hawk dude, we did see the foreshadowing set up with him with his darkness power. But, you know, the slime girl, when she came out of nowhere and attacked All For One, I was like, did you get stronger? Because I haven't seen you in forever. Like, I've seen you on page like 3 times. The engine dude, I haven't seen you since the Stain arc do anything. And all of a sudden, like, you're like, oh, I'm going to try to go faster than I've ever gone before. I'm like, sure, but no real payoff there. Like, you've been off screen for so long. Who else came out of nowhere? Bakugo's always been on screen, so I can't say him. The dude that became Bakugo's heart after Bakugo, I think I talked about his fake out death before, but Bakugo heart exploded, and you're like, oh, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna become the boy's heart. If you've never done it before, how do you know you can do it? And does that mean like you're killing yourself because you are forever gonna be this boy's heart? Like, that doesn't make sense. So it's like all these off-screen characters suddenly getting super powered up. It's like, where'd they come from though? You can't, when you have a large ensemble of anime characters, you've got to balance them. Otherwise, you're going to have what happened in the Naruto Rookie 9. Now, originally in Naruto Part 1, the Rookie 9, they all did have some hype. Rock Lee came back and fought, after he used the 8 gates, he went up and fought against the Bone Dude, which ended kind of lame. It was funny. It became a gag, but Rock Lee was back in the fight. Neji had a cool fight again. Neji fought the Spider Dude. Shikamaru fought the Flute Girl. Choji fought the Big Boulder Dude. And then Kiba. But basically, you gave your ensemble characters, the Rookie 9, more screen time. Tamari came back. Gaara came back. And Gaara came back. And Kankuro. So it's like... But then when Shippuden came, those characters literally got pushed to the side. And yes, I know when it's a story about My Hero Academia, you focus on Bakugo, Deku, and Shigaraki, All Might, All For One. I know when it's about One Piece, you're focused on Luffy. Well, the Straw Hats, basically. But Oda still has time to sprinkle in Law doing things, getting stronger. Kid doing things, getting stronger. You know, the other... Worst Generation doing things, getting stronger on panel, or Bleach, like I said, the other captains getting stronger. Black Clover, Black Clover, all of the Black Bulls getting stronger together. I don't want to spoil Black Clover if you're not caught up, but trust me, Black Clover is good. Don't listen to anybody that says Black Clover is bad. Black Clover is amazing. But that's what I mean by ensemble characters. They have to get stronger together. Class 1A, you guys have been off screen for so long, and when you are on screen, you're just doing like music festival, training kids to use their power. Like, okay, but there's not enough screen time for you guys. There's a lot of you, so I understand why he can't do it all the time, but break it into sections. Make Deku team up with like the engine guy, Uraka, Invisible Girl for an arc. Make him team up with Bakugo, Ice Dude, and Pop Off Mineta for an arc. You build up your characters over time. You can't just rush them out all at once and just say they all got stronger, man. The My Hero Academia movie, the Heroes Rising, that did the ensemble cast good. Like, they all had something, and that was good. But this war arc, man, no bueno. Not in my opinion. And it's not that I don't like